Good morning. We will start session 2 on chapter metals and non-metals. So in our previous class, we understood what are the physical properties of metal and non-metal based on their hardness, boiling point, melting point, density, sonorous, luster, and many some properties. So today we will start with chemical properties of metals and non-metals. We will initially begin with the chemical properties of metals, and then in the consecutive classes we also understand chemical properties of non-metals. So before understanding the chemical properties, we first have to know what do you mean by a reactivity series of a metal. So reactivity series means how a metal reacts with the another. So when we talk about reactivity series, a series of metallic arrangement arranged in the increasing or decreasing order of their reactivity is called reactivity series. So this is the definition or the meaning of reactivity series. That means how a metal is reacting with what? Reacting with air, reacting with water, reacting with acids, etc. On what basis it is reacting? That is something about reactivity series. So if I list the reactivity series of the metal, it goes in an order as potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, gold and silver, right? Or silver and gold. Why is this series? This series will tell us that these two elements, sodium and potassium, which are on the top list of the series, are highly reactive metals. Yes? Then the later elements what we have about calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron are moderately reactive. Now whatever elements you see beyond iron, that is lead onwards, whatever we have, they are very less reactive, or we can say they do not react at all. Now for example, if I tell you mercury, gold and silver, they do not react at any condition. They do not react with oxygen, they do not react with the water, correct? Then with what they react, that's a different concept, we understand. But from this comes under the topmost series of the reactivity series of the metal, right? So whichever is found in the top, they are highly reactive. Now did you understand why sodium and potassium are the most reactive metals? Since they are stored in kerosene, because if it is exposed, then it reacts with the atmospheric oxygen and it can catch fire, right? So this comes under the topmost series. Remaining one, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, they are reactive, moderately reactive, not very high reactive. So if you understand this reactivity series, based on this, it will be easy for us once we start reacting these metals with oxygen, that is reacting with air, water, acids, etc. So we will again come to this reactivity series and further. Now we only understand this is a series how we arrange them in terms of highly reactive, moderately reactive, very less reactive, or we can say no reaction at all. That is in case of mercury, gold and silver, right? Now let's understand the first property of a metal, that is when metals react with oxygen, that is when metals are exposed to air or metals reacting with air, what happens? So now let's see what happens when a metal reacts with oxygen, that is air. Metal reacting with oxygen gives us metal oxide. Now we all know that metal oxides are basic in nature, correct? So it forms a basic oxide. Now let's take the first one. Magnesium reacting with oxygen gives us magnesium oxide. I have just started on few examples here, as again you always find more and more example given in the book. Magnesium reacts with oxygen to give its respective oxide, that is magnesium oxide. Potassium reacts with oxygen to give potassium oxide. Sodium with oxygen gives sodium oxide. All the reactions are balanced here. Aluminium reacts with oxygen to give aluminium oxide. Now one thing what we have to know here is, now the metals like magnesium, zinc, these aluminium, these will sometimes, when it is normally exposed to air, that will form a layer on it already. That is nothing but it forms a layer, that means it is already forming aluminium oxide, magnesium oxide or zinc oxide, its layer. So what we have to do when we are performing the reaction, we have to just scrape the metal out little. If you remember in the first chapter, chemical reaction and equation, magnesium ribbon when burnt in air gives a dazzling flame kind of thing, correct? Sparkling dazzling flame. So that is nothing but magnesium oxide. This magnesium oxide ribbon, before burning, we actually scrape that out either with the sandpaper, so that when it is exposed, already a layer of magnesium oxide is formed on that, right? When we burn that, it will not show any reaction, correct? So some metals will anyhow exposed to air will form a layer of oxide on it already. The next one, lithium, potassium and sodium are alkali metals. What are alkali metals? Alkali is what? They are base metals, right? Dissolving in water. Now here in this chapter there are few terms what we discuss, say as alkali metals, reactivity series, first group elements. All these things will be again repeated in the next chapter, periodic classification, where you understand much depth in that, what you actually mean, why are they called as alkali metals, and there is another type of metals called as alkaline earth metals. What is the difference in that? You will again study in depth about these things. Basically, you know what is an alkali. Alkali is nothing but a base, correct? So these are alkali metals those are nothing but which will get dissolved in water. These will react vigorously, right? We know that sodium, potassium, these will react vigorously with water. What happens? Even when you put that in water, it reacts rapidly, and sometimes it can also, not sometimes, it will catch fire. We will study about the reaction when it will react with water in the next part. What happens when a metal reacts with water, right? So one thing you have to remember here is, these are alkali metals which react very vigorously. But the metals, when we consider gold and silver, they do not react with air. Now we wear ornaments made out of gold and silver. Do they react with the atmospheric oxygen or air? No. Now silver sometimes turns black, correct? Gold, no. They do not react actually. Okay. The next one, and the same reaction, iron reacts with oxygen to give iron oxide. Now here, iron does not react. Now for example, now magnesium ribbon, even if it is exposed to air, it will form a layer of magnesium oxide. Now aluminium exposed to air, it will form aluminium oxide. Similarly zinc also. But there are, zinc will also come here, it can also come in this part. But there are some metals when exposed to air do not react. That means iron, when I expose to air, do not react it very easily. That means I have to heat iron. Only then it will form its respective oxide. That means there should be a supply of heat in presence of oxygen to form its respective oxide. Similar with copper. We have to heat copper, only then I form copper oxide. Same case with zinc. Zinc will form a small layer, right? But you have to supply heat to get zinc oxide, right? So these are the reactions when a metal reacts with oxygen. Very simple to remember here. What will happen when a metal reacts with oxygen? It forms respective oxide, that is metal oxide, that you should know. If asked example, one or two examples you can write, or complete the reaction if it is given. Magnesium plus oxygen gives what? Magnesium oxide. Simple, you have to only know the reaction here. Nothing much in this to understand. But always remember, these reactions are understood better only if you write it regularly or repeatedly by balancing. always learn the skeletal equation first. After you learn the skeletal equation, then balance it. Do not by heart the balanced equation. That creates a problem. Okay, let's move further. Now let's see what happens when a metal reacts with water. Metal plus water gives metal oxide. Metal plus water also gives metal hydroxide. Now what does this mean? Reacting with water will give metal oxide, also metal hydroxide. How is it possible? Yes, it is possible because metal reacting with water in the form of steam gives you metal oxide. Metal reacting with cold and hot water gives you metal hydroxide. Now that means any metal can react with steam and hot and cold water? No. That is why we have the reactivity series. It goes with the reactivity series. In terms of reactivity series, only a set of metal can react with steam. Only a set of metal can react with cold water. Only a set of metal can react with hot water. That means there are some metals, if I expose, for example, a particular metal, say example now sodium. Now sodium does not require any temperature, hot or steam or something. Normal water, if it is there, sodium will react, right? But when I talk about magnesium, magnesium might not react. Magnesium wants a steam or hot water only to react. If I provide cold water, magnesium might not react only. So got my point? So certain metals can only react with steam to produce metal oxides. They react with cold or hot water to give its respective hydroxide. Now which are those metals based on the reactivity series? Let's see. Okay, now let's start reaction of metals with water. One small correction what you have to make here is metal plus water, that is cold or hot, and what is steam will give us metal hydroxide or metal oxide I had told. Along with that, it also releases hydrogen gas. I had not mentioned that in the previous line. So either metal plus water gives you metal hydroxide or metal oxide. Respectively, we use cold water, hot water or steam. Along with that, hydrogen gas is also released. Now here, reactivity series is main important to understand this when it reacts with cold, hot or steam. That's because topmost in the reactivity series, we have sodium and potassium, right? That means sodium and potassium are highly reactive metal when it is just exposed to normal water. Now when I talk about cold water, it is not something you're freezing ice cold water from your refrigerator. It is the normal water when I talk about, that is a cold water. That means the metals are so reactive, they just start reacting with normal cold water also. But remaining metals require a particular temperature of water to react. Some require a hot steam or some require a hot water, right? But sodium and potassium being very reactive, they just react with cold water. Now, as I told, it also releases hydrogen gas. That means under the reaction of sodium and potassium, we cannot check that with a pop test. Before even bringing a burning candle to check the pop test, the reaction itself may explode or it might catch fire. It is that very vigorous because sodium and potassium being very light, though they are very reactive, they will float on water, and once this reaction will start, lots amount of heat is released along with the hydrogen gas. Hydrogen being the combustible gas and oxygen is the supporter of combustion. What happens here is it catches fire. Apart from that, where sodium is also so very reactive, or potassium, even sodium and potassium can catch fire in the reaction, providing enormous amount of heat. That is why this is a very vigorous reaction. So now understood why do we keep sodium and potassium in kerosene rather than exposing it to water or in air. Now second most thing what you have to know here is Now, sodium and potassium. If the question asks which is the most reactive metal, sodium and potassium as given under the option MCQ question. According to you, sodium also is reactive, potassium also is reactive, right? But the first reactive is potassium, then sodium. Rank wise, if I have to give you, potassium stands first and sodium stands second. So potassium is the highly reactive than sodium. Both are vigorously reactive, but if I have to give the reactivity rank wise, potassium stands first, right? Now let's see reaction of the metal with cold water, that is with sodium and potassium. Sodium reacts with cold water to give sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is liberated along with enormous amount of heat. It's an exothermic reaction. Potassium reacting with water gives you potassium hydroxide with hydrogen gas is liberated along with this enormous amount of heat. Now, the first three elements what I have here, sodium, potassium and calcium, all these three will react with cold water. But calcium will not show the same property as shown by sodium and potassium because calcium also reacts but it is not exothermic, not that much amount of heat is liberated, right? It releases hydrogen gas. You can check for the presence of Pop test here because it does not liberate lots amount of heat, correct? So calcium with water gives you calcium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is liberated. That means these three metals will react with only cold water. Now next we will come to magnesium later. We will start with these three, aluminium, zinc and iron. Now aluminium, zinc and iron can only react with steam. If I expose it to cold water, there is no reaction. If I even expose it to hot water, there is no reaction found. The only reaction is found when I expose these metals to steam. Now, steam also we write in form of water only. H2O only we write. But we have to know that that is a steam. Aluminium reacting with steam, I will say here, will give you aluminium oxide plus hydrogen gas is liberated. That is why I have written here cold and hot will give you hydroxide, steam will give you respective oxide. Zinc plus steam will give you zinc oxide and hydrogen gas is liberated. Iron and steam will give you iron oxide and hydrogen gas is liberated. So these three metals will only react with steam. Now we all know that these other metals do not react or they do not show any reaction. You might have wondered why have I written hydrogen in the reactivity series, right? I will explain you this when we will deal with exactly what are reactivity series about the metal in the consecutive classes. Though hydrogen will not come in metal, it is a non-metal, but we still write in that reactivity series. I'll explain you why in the later class. So next we will go with magnesium. So magnesium has a type of property. Now if I stick to your NCERT book, what they have given in NCERT book is magnesium reacting with hot water gives magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen gases released. But also magnesium can also react with steam, right? So this is not given in NCERT book, but this is also a right equation. According to your NCERT, magnesium can react with hot water giving magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen gases released. Along with that, magnesium can also react with steam and it will give you magnesium oxide and water. Same thing. What should happen with steam? Oxide. It is happening. What should happen with hot water? Hydroxide. It is happening. So magnesium metal has only property, you can say, where it can also react with hot water to give its hydroxide. It can also react with steam to give oxide. Yes. So these are the reactions when a metal reacts with water. Now suppose in an exam if a question appears, give the reaction where metal reacts with water. Now they have not mentioned whether it is hot, cold or steam. So it's in your hand you can choose any equation and you can write, but make sure that suppose you have chosen this part. Make sure you write sodium reacting with cold water will give you sodium hydroxide, right? You have to mention it. Specifically, if it is asked what happens when metals react with cold water, hot water or steam, you know what to write. Only if the question is given, give examples when metals react with water, right? It forms hydroxide and oxide by hydrogen gas, but with which type of water you have to mention it. So this is about metals reacting with oxygen and air, and also metals reacting with water. So a few more reactions about metals chemical reactions we will be studying in our next session. So in today's session, if you have any doubts, you can call on the same day of the video set. Thank you.